Hey guys, welcome back to Crypto with Caleb. Man, we got a massive one today. If you haven't heard, Trump just issued a 48-hour ultimatum to Iran. And I mean, if this escalates, we could be looking at some crazy oil chaos. So like global market panic, it's surprisingly, it could be a good setup for XRP in 2026 amidst all the chaos, but let's dive into it. So like right now, total crypto market cap, it's pulling back. Sentiment's getting a little shaky. This is the time we're in, so just be fully aware that's just kind of where we're at. And we're clearly in a risk-off environment. And yeah, honestly, that makes sense. It totally makes sense. I mean, everything that's happening geopolitically right now is like no joke, right? Like there've been rumors of this type of a war for a long time. And now that it's here, it's almost like the millennial in me is kind of like, oh, it's just another crisis, whatever. Don't like, it's like you experienced 2008 crisis. You had the Y2K way back in the day, if any of you guys remember that. I mean, you got how many financial crises, a global, the global pandemic, right? Like the amount of things that happened in the millennials' lifetime is just, you just throw it on top. It's just another thing. But we kind of get in that system where we forget kind of like what's a big one. This whole situation in the Middle East is a big one. It's not just like a little fluff here and there just to keep, powers that be dealing. No, like this is big. So, I mean, Trump posted that if Iran doesn't fully open the Strait of Hormuz within 48 hours, with zero threat to the U.S. And to like shipping containers, everything, like just fully open everything, then the U.S. is going to hit and obliterate their power plants, starting with their largest one. So, I mean, that's a deadline hitting around Monday evening into Tuesday, so we'll see if that's a bluff or not, but it's hard to say these days, right? And I mean, what's Iran's response? What do they say? They're threatening the full closure of the strait. Now remember, the Strait of Hormuz has about 20-ish% of the global oil comes through the Strait of Hormuz. So I mean, I don't know. It's not looking great. And if it shuts down, I mean, we could see oil spike to like $150. Some analysts say $200 a barrel. I don't know if it's going to go that high. It certainly can. A lot of countries' oil reserves are being depleted right now. So markets they're already pricing in extreme risk, right? So in situations like this, sanction, disruptions, chaos, countries and individuals, they need ways to move money outside of the traditional systems, right? So like Iran has already used crypto to bypass restrictions. They've been using, they've had a lot of Bitcoin mining operations in Iran, and they can get energy cheap, right? So then I think they could mine a Bitcoin for something like, $1,300 US, right? And then they just use that money. So it's kind of like they're just sort of cheating the system a bit using mining Bitcoin, right? And so that's where, I don't know, like they're going to be putting their money somewhere, right? And this is where XRP's fast, low cost, like cross-border utility really stands out, really starts to shine in these moments, right? So short term, I don't know, fear hits risk assets kind of hard. So maybe we see a little bit of a dip, but long term utility crypto like XRP actually gains relevance during like real world crises, right? That's where XRP shines. And so if you have a little bit of a short-term pullback, I think the long-term, it's not financial advice, but long-term, it's going to be printing massive green candles in the future. In my 2 cents, just my personal conviction, my personal opinion, right? So do your own research, of course. But now where things get a little bit more serious is Iran's largest power facility in Bushehr. I think you pronounce it Bushehr. That's like the biggest one that Trump was mentioning that, they're going to hit first, right? If they don't open up the strait. And they're only operating, it's their only operating nuclear reactor. there, from what I understand. So officials warn that if it gets like hit directly, it could trigger a meltdown and release radiation into the Gulf. Wow, that sounds great, huh? I mean, dude, I don't know what the world is doing right now. It's just gone crazy. But, you know, we're talking water contamination, air pollution, you know, of course we got shipping disruption already. So, I mean, it's already a disaster over there, but you're talking potentially even a regional disaster, even a fallout afterwards, right? And so there's already been some close calls there. So we just really gotta hope for the best and pray for the guys over there and pray that everything is gonna go, you know, according to the will of God, because we don't need to see any more global catastrophes. I'm kind of over global catastrophes. I'm sure you are too. But, you know, it turns this military conflict into an environmental conflict, and that's going to amplify fear across global markets, right? You know, if power grids fail or banks go offline, well, that's when people might turn to self-custody, right? And assets like XRP and stable coins, they become lifelines when traditional systems break down, right? So these are extreme tail risks that we're in right now. But the highlight is exactly why, you know, why we're invested in these protocols, I guess, is these decentralized payment systems. You know, this is why they exist in the first place, right? Is to act as liquidity when there's no liquidity to be found, right? Another thing, guys, to be paying attention to is this whole Clarity Act thing, right? Of course, the Clarity Act got moved forward in a big way. So, I mean, it's like 99% the way there. That's what everybody's saying. You know, so they've reached an agreement basically on the principle on stablecoin yield, the banks and crypto, right? So it's like, I don't know, there's been months of deadlock. Obviously we've been paying attention to it, but you know, Senate banking movement, maybe we'll see it by Easter, guys. That's right there. That's right there. So I'm hopeful that can happen. But I mean, this bill is going to define roles between regulators and remove a ton of uncertainty hanging over crypto. XRP, of course, they've been the poster child of regulatory battles. So, you know, they already have, you know, their legal clarity. But I mean, clear rules for crypto and stable coins and everything, totally, that's when the major adoption can happen, right? That's when, like, you know, you're gonna see way more ETF inflows, in my opinion, and you know, there's gonna be increased bank usage of all of Ripple's rails that they've set up. So I mean, could we see a $5 to $6 XRP after the Clarity Act? I don't know. It might be a buy the rumor, sell the news type of an event. But long term, there we go with the long term. We have to have a long-term outlook, guys, a long-term mindset, right? You can't just, when moon. We all would like to know when moon. That's what everybody wants to know. And if we all had a crystal ball, we'd all be on a beach somewhere sipping pina coladas and not even following anything, because we wouldn't even care, because we'd have so much money, right? But that's not the case. We don't have a crystal ball, and that's why we speculate, and that's why we try to, you know, investigate and see what's happening globally and try to piece all these puzzles together and hope that we get it right, you know? And I think we're on the right track. You let me know down in the comments where you think we're at, if we're close, to having a real utility bull run that we were kind of hoping we were going to have last cycle. Some, you know, we sort of did. I mean, XRP went from 27 cents to like $3.65, right? I mean, that's a 12x move. That, I mean, go find that in a traditional market, right? Good luck. You're gonna find that in about a year and a half type of move. I don't think so. So I mean, we did have a bull run. Like, it did appreciate in price, and XRP's holding pretty well now. You know, at that $1.30, $1.40 range. So I mean, there's a lot of strength. I think the sellers are kind of, I think they're I think they're gassed out. You know, there might be a black swan event, something that happens. Maybe it's something to do with gas. Maybe countries are going to start, you know, limiting people's, you know, gas consumption. Oh, you can only drive this day. Oh, the people with only these license plates can only, you know, move here on these days, alternate days. If there's a huge gas shortage, which, you know, there very potentially could be. So I mean, we got to be paying attention to the energy markets and see where they're at. But I mean, I don't know, it's seeming like it's getting a little bit worse than better. Everybody's kept saying, oh, it's gonna be over, it's gonna be over, gonna be over. I'm hoping it's gonna be over. I hope it's gonna be over. But get this, Iran just, you know, they added a new denomination to their money. They made a 10 million what is there, I'm gonna butcher it, real, yeah, I think that's what it's called, RIAL, real. And so that's, you know, that's like worth about $7 I think. But before all this stuff kind of really got going, I think it was like in October like in 2025, I think that was like worth around $14-15. So Iran's taking a hit on, you know, what their money is worth, and you got investors over there that are looking to put their money somewhere where it's like, you know, it's gonna hedge against their inflation, right? And so, you know, people are hoarding cash, but at the same time, crypto usage is exploding, you know. And we've seen this in places before. Think in Venezuela, Argentina. So I mean, XRP has a bit of an angle there because, well, what is XRP doing? All right, fast cross-border settlements. It makes XRP ideal in these environments, and the Ripple's infrastructure that they built for all these years and stablecoin integration, they can. I mean, it's gonna seem like they're, you know, quietly thriving in these conditions, but like, I mean, if you're paying attention to this space, it's not that quiet, guys. They're just yelling it on the mountaintops for us, and the majority of people are completely oblivious, right? So I mean, you're not oblivious. It's on its way. It's on its way. So what to watch out for this week? I mean, there's two things. I mean, number one, any escalation or de-escalation with Iran, that's gonna be a big catalyst, right? So of course we got to keep that in mind. Number two, let's see what happens with this Clarity Act. Let's see if this thing gets polished out. That would be amazing. And ETFs, man, ETFs, they're flowing. But I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear, you know, what's your take on all of this? You know, where do you see XRP going this year? Are we gonna have a complete moonshot to $100,000? You know, once the Clarity Act comes out, you know, where do you think things are gonna be? Do you think it's gonna be the buy the rumor, sell the news, or do you think we're gonna have a significant pump? Some people are saying that XRP would tag about $6. It's possible, but if you're new here, please, if you find any value, just hit that like button for me and subscribe so you don't miss out on any content coming forward. And you know what, guys? I want you to be blessed, stay positive, and I'm going to catch you in the next one, and we're going to keep up to date with everything that's going on in this crazy world.